Hello, this is GG5400, Design and Management of Projects, and me, Stuart Downward. In this presentation, I'm going to tell you about the UK project assignments that you're going to start after today and hand in March. If we go to the assignment page on Canvas from the module, click on Assignments, you can see the statistics exercise you've completed already, and you can obviously find the feedback for that. And down here, we've got the UK project. The Tenerife project is for the environmental hazards disaster management students only. So this is what we're concentrating on here. Click on that, and there's a link then through to the assessment brief and the assessment criteria. You'll see that we've given you 3 documents you can download: the projects and guidelines themselves, the structure and the organization of those projects, i.e. the write-up and what we expect of the write-up, and then the marking grade guidelines. A bit of context to the project themselves. As I said last week, one of the ambitions of this module is that you have the opportunity, working in a small group, to undertake an environmental project that's going to give you some experience that you can feed forward into your final dissertation. So what we're going to do here is give you a topic. You can choose the topic from a list. You'll need to define your aims and objectives from that topic, so you'll have to distill that down to a set of very clear research aims that you'll investigate. You'll undertake a literature review prior to starting the fieldwork in the enrichment week, and that literature review will provide you with context for the research that you will do and help you to guide that research. And then in the enrichment week, you'll then undertake your data gathering and also your data analyses. So for many of these projects, that will involve various amounts of fieldwork and potentially various amounts of time in the laboratory analysing the data you require. And it's important to state that there is a connection here between what you learned last year with Kerry Brown on the statistical techniques that you developed and the way in which you analyse the data that you require for this particular project. And so in designing this project, it's not just about designing the fieldwork methods, but also thinking very carefully about the analytical methods. How will you use the data and design the data that you require in order to evaluate the projects that you're undertaking? So the fieldwork week, the 5 days you will have in enrichment week, are just a small component of the preparation you'll need to do before that week in terms of providing the context and having a clear plan of what's going to happen when, and a little bit of time afterwards. You'll see the deadlines here. The research week itself is Monday the 11th of February to Friday the 15th of February, and the due date is a little bit afterwards. You've got 3 weeks after that date then to complete the write-up of that research and to do any further additional reading you might need to do. Let's turn to the projects themselves then and give you a bit of background to the projects and how you can choose. So if you click on that button there, that will open a Word document which will then tell you about the different projects that you can choose from. So the first part reiterates what you've read in Canvas, and we now give you 8 topics that you can choose from. We've given you a range of different types of projects, some of which are more field intensive, some are perhaps more laboratory intensive, some of them perhaps require you to do more mapping GIS type approaches, some are more qualitative rather than quantitative. So there's something here for everybody, and clearly choose a topic that's going to challenge you. Choose a topic that perhaps you're not so familiar with, so you can really try to develop some of the employability skills that we're trying to develop from this. The 8 topics are, and I'll go through them very quickly and allow you to read them in more detail yourselves. Eco-labelling, how green is your supermarket or fashion outlet? Trees in the urban environment. An assessment of soil contamination at different roadside locations, a river habitat survey of selected reaches from an urban stream, honey detectives, is heather, lime, etc. Honey really what it says it is, i.e. does it really contain what it says on the tin? Bacteriological pollution of the River Hogsmill, a litter survey of a town centre, and farmers markets, the latest food fad. You can choose the topic you're interested in. So take a moment to read through the ideas behind those different projects, and we've given you some suggestions of the types of field work and the lab work you could actually do as part of that. What I'd like you to do then is to sign up for a project. And given that there are 16 of you in total on the environmental science and environmental management pathways and 8 projects, clearly you'll be working in pairs. So I really need you just to decide who you want to work with, and then I'll put a list up on my door, and I'd like you to sign up to a project, letting me know the pair of people against those projects. And I'll then create a project space in Canvas, so you'll have a working space for kind of talking and diversing virtually with the person you're working to if you can't always necessarily meet up with them. And in the sessions, we'll also talk about how we can use things like Skype and collaborate to to meet up in a sort of virtual environment to help us undertake that research. Okay, good. So just to remind you that the research formative work will be the preparation you'll do, and please come and have a chat with myself or Kerry Brown about the projects that you might be interested in or your ideas as they begin to develop. We'll supervise you, and we'll make sure that you're on the right path. We'll also put you in touch with the technicians, because a number of these projects will require particular field equipment, and you'll need to think about the logistical sides of booking that equipment out, and also about the lab work, because clearly you need to book the lab time, and you'll be learning a number of logistical requirements in terms of exactly what will you need in the lab, how long will you require, what equipment might you need, and we can talk through all of those things with you as well. So as well as learning about the environmental science in this project, you'll also be learning a number of logistical things too, which will be very, very useful for the final projects that you'll do for your dissertations next year. Okay, over to you. Take a read through the 3 documents in details, the projects and guidelines, the structure and the organisation, and the marking guidelines. And then please, if you then choose the project, let me know what project you want to do, and you can then get started on those projects. Thank you.